All right, let's jump right in. Today we're talking about Microsoft Aspire. It's a new tool that's been making a lot of noise in the .NET community, and for good reason. It promises to finally tame the wild complexity of building modern cloud-native apps. So let's see what it's all about.
But before we get to the solution, let's talk about the problem. And it's a question I'm sure hits close to home for a lot of you. Why is building apps today so ridiculously complex? I mean, we've gone from these nice, simple, single applications to the sprawling world of distributed systems, and that has brought a whole new universe of headaches. And this slide? This is the cloud-native headache in a nutshell. It's that daily struggle of trying to spin up multiple services, a database, maybe a cache, all just to get your local dev environment to work. It's getting lost in that tangled mess of URLs, ports, and environment variables. And don't even get me started on setting up logging and tracing from scratch. It's just a mountain of work before you can write a single line of actual business logic.
So what's the answer to all this pain? Well, according to Microsoft, the answer is Aspire. It's a brand new stack that's been built from the ground up to make building cloud-native apps in .NET a whole lot smoother.
So what is it really? Well, you can think of Aspire as a complete package. Its entire reason for existing is to simplify the three big stages of any distributed app's life. First, building the thing. Second, actually running it on your own machine. And third, being able to see what on earth it's doing with proper observability. Now, I really want you to focus on one word on this slide, opinionated. That's key. Aspire isn't just a random collection of libraries you have to figure out. It's a well-defined path. It gives you a ready-made solution for all the tricky stuff, orchestration, service discovery, observability, right out of the box. It takes away the guesswork. So who is this for? Well, Aspire is really in its element with modern architectures. If you're building microservices or any system where you've got an API, a background worker, a database, and a cache all trying to talk to each other, you're in the sweet spot. It's also a lifesaver for teams that are just plain tired of fighting with service discovery or setting up monitoring tools by hand. Okay, so we've talked about why Aspire exists. Now let's get to the good part, the how. In this section, we're going to pop the hood on Aspire's toolkit and see exactly how it tackles those headaches we talked about earlier. First up, the big one. The absolute nightmare that local development can become. You know the drill. Just getting all the different parts of your application running together on your own laptop can sometimes feel like a full-time job. And this just perfectly shows the difference. The old way is that classic scene. 5 different terminal windows open, you're manually starting each service, kicking off your database, firing up your cache. It's just so slow and easy to break. The Aspire way, you type one command. That's it. It spins up your entire application stack, and it even starts dependencies like Redis or a SQL server for you, automatically. It's a game changer.
Okay, on to the next problem. Pure chaos. I'm talking about service discovery. How does your front-end service even know where your back-end API is? The address, the port, all that stuff can change constantly between your machine, testing, and production. So, the old way was this brittle house of cards built on hard-coded URLs and a tangled web of environment variables. One wrong port, and the whole thing comes crashing down. Aspire just gets rid of all that. It has service discovery built right in. Now your services can find each other just by using a simple name, like API service. Aspire handles all the messy network details behind the scenes. And the third major pain point is what I call the observability blind spot. When you've got a distributed system and something breaks, how do you follow a single user request as it jumps from one service to another? Without the right tools, you're basically flying completely blind. Now, tools like OpenTelemetry are fantastic, but let's be honest, setting them up correctly is a project in itself. Aspire's approach is just so much better. It's on by default. The second you run your app, you get this amazing dashboard with all your logs, distributed traces, and metrics, all working together with zero setup required from you. So this all sounds fantastic for development, but now we have to ask the million-dollar question, the one every single developer is thinking. This is cool and all, but can I actually ship code with this? Is Aspire ready for production? An answer is a pretty confident yes, with a little bit of context. As you can see here, the core parts, the framework, the local development tools, the observability are all stable and ready to go. The connections to Azure and Kubernetes are solid. Now, it is definitely built with the cloud in mind, so while you could run it on-prem, it's really designed to shine on a platform like Azure. And this is a super important point to understand.
Aspire is not trying to be another Kubernetes. It's not a replacement for your Azure services. Think of it as a tool that sits on top of all that. Its job is to improve the developer experience, to make the day-to-day work of building, testing, and deploying your app onto those platforms way, way easier.
So what does this all mean for your workflow? How does using something like Aspire actually change what you focus on every day as a developer?
I love this slide because it says it all. You're going to spend way less time writing things like Docker Compose files, manually hooking up connection strings, or copy-pasting boiler code for observability. And all of that time and mental energy you get back, you can pour it into what actually matters: building great features, designing clean APIs, and solving real business problems. You get to do the fun stuff.
And the end result of all of this is just a massive boost to developer productivity. By taking care of all that tedious plumbing and infrastructure work, Aspire is really designed to help you and your team find that flow state, where you can just focus on shipping great software faster.
So let's just put it all together one last time, side by side. Traditionally, things like local setup, service discovery, and observability are complex, manual chores. With Aspire, they become simple, built-in, and just on. The outcome is a much clearer path to the cloud and a huge jump in how productive you can be.
So what's the final verdict here? Well, Aspire clearly cuts down on the effort it takes to build these complex systems in .NET. It is absolutely perfect for microservices. It's ready for production, especially if you're targeting Azure, and most importantly, its entire reason for being is to make developers' lives better. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. When you think about how it simplifies all this complexity and just lets you focus on your code, it's really worth asking, could Microsoft Aspire be the co-pilot your next cloud-native project has been waiting for?